I want to talk a little bit more about those Trump tweets targeting four Democratic congresswomen. For more on this, we have David Smith. He is the Washington bureau chief for The Guardian, and he joins us today from Washington. So, David, a Twitter tirade from the president is not new, but many critics are saying he went way too far in this. Could this be damaging to him?
Yes, it's breaking new territory, even for him, I think, to be quite so overt and blatant, although there is a long history. I'm making calls right now on whether this will be damaging for him or whether he regards it at least as an electoral strategy that he's likely to continue to do in the build-up to the 2020 presidential election. I think he views it as a way to fire up that base who go for things like building the wall and various nativist slogans. He won the 2016 election with a minority of the population, but it was enough in the Electoral College. As one person I interviewed said, this will be a real test for Americans. Are they willing to accept this racism again? Particularly in those crucial states that are white majority states that will probably decide the election in 2020. To be honest, I think we may well see more attacks of this nature in the build up to polling day.
Even more of a concern potentially because we're talking about four women, and what about, wooing the female vote?
Well, quite. Of course, it's worth remembering in 2016 when already Trump had a long history of racial rhetoric, including questioning Barack Obama's birthplace. He still won a majority of white women. So again, I would not expect him to change course going into this. And what's been very telling in the last 24 hours is the response or lack of response from the Republican Party. Democrats, as you'd expect, have piled in with criticism. And in the last few minutes, Nancy Pelosi, the House Speaker, has said she'll introduce a resolution in the House to condemn the comments. But from Republicans, there's been a broad silence, just a couple of congressmen making critical noises. Otherwise, people who've left office have spoken out. But, for example, Senator Lindsey Graham, who's very supportive of Trump, has really backed him and accused these congresswomen of being communists and criticizing Israel. So what this episode has really shown us, I think, is Donald Trump's now total dominance of the Republican Party. To put it charitably, they live in fear of him, or to put it less charitably, many, it appears, agree with this kind of rhetoric.
And David, it's one thing and I almost expected that you would hear some fury on the Democratic side and domestically speaking, but we're hearing it from the UK Prime Minister, Theresa May, condemning these tweets, saying that they're entirely inappropriate. So it's the beginning of an international reaction to this. Did that surprise you that she weighed in?
Yes, it's pretty unusual for a leader of one country to speak about the domestic affairs of another in that way. Of course, Theresa May is leaving office very soon, so in that sense has nothing to lose. But I wonder perhaps other foreign leaders may do too, because these comments are so beyond the pale. I think that they rise to the level where you would perhaps expect to see some international condemnation. Barack Obama, of course, was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize after becoming the first African-American to be US president. So conversely, when an American president appeals to these nativist instincts, which Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of his targets, has said, frankly, this is the hallmark of white supremacists, then perhaps there is a burden on the international community to speak out.
David Smith, I know we haven't heard the end of this one. Appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.